Let's make some short ribs. First things first, you want to remove your short ribs from the refrigerator and set your oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's prep up our potatoes, peel them and chop them in uniform sizes, followed by our aromatics, which are carrots, celery, and onions. We want to cut them uniform in size as well. Go ahead and wash our broccolini and set those aside. Now that we have all the vegetables prepped, our potatoes, broccolini, aromatics, garlic, thyme, red wine, beef broth, and tomato paste, and our short ribs have been pat dry, we can start the cooking process. First thing you want to do is hit your short ribs on all sides with a generous amount of kosher salt, followed by some fresh cracked black pepper. You want to make sure to press your seasonings in so they stick. Meanwhile, you want to get your stove and set it on medium heat. You take each of your short ribs and you want to dust them gently. Cover them with flour on all sides, shake off the excess, and you are only looking to get a thin flour coating on each side. Lightly dusted, ready to go. Put some avocado oil in your roasting pan, and you want to start placing all your short ribs down on one side, and once you place them down, leave them. Do not move them. Let them stay on each side for at least 2 to 3 minutes before turning. Depending on the strength of your stove, I leave the short ribs undisturbed for about 2-3 minutes before I turn them. After 2 to 3 minutes, they should have a nice brown crust, and continue this process until you finish browning your meat on all sides. This process here takes some time, so just be patient, and you want to do each step correctly. No shortcuts here. While your short ribs are going, you can also open up your bottle of red wine. Here I use a bottle of 2 buck chuck from Trader Joe's. You don't want to use no expensive wine. So when the short ribs are all browned on each side, that's what you're looking for. You can remove them from the pan one by one. This is what you're looking for again. Nice browning means good flavor. We're building flavors here, so this is what you're looking for. Perfect. Once you remove all your short ribs, while they're resting, you can remove all the excess fat from the roasting pan. And after that's done, you want to go in also on medium heat with all of your aromatics, carrots, celery, onions, and I've also added a whole bulb of garlic. You don't have to peel it or anything, you just cut it in half and you set it into the aromatics like so. I also added a few sprigs of fresh thyme, and you want to go in also with a good spoonful of tomato paste. You want to cook the tomato paste out with the aromatics for a good minute or so. You want to follow up that step with your bottle of red wine. Again, you don't want to use no expensive wine for this process. Cheap Cabernet is perfect for this process. So go in with the bottle of wine. You bring that up to a boil. Once that's up to a boil, you want to reduce that by at least 1/3. Then you want to follow that up with setting your short ribs back into the wine. Followed by 32 ounces of beef broth. You can get this at any supermarket. I used beef broth from Trader Joe's, which is fine. Again, 32 ounces. You want to bring that liquid up to a simmer, and you want to begin basting your short ribs. After that point, we can cover our short ribs with foil and parchment paper, like so. And our oven's already preheated at 350, so we'll want to go ahead and put it in the oven at 350 degrees for 2 hours, or actually 2.5 hours. At that moment, you can start making your broccolini. You want to blanch it in salted boiling water for about 30-45 seconds and immediately plunge it in an ice bath to stop the cooking and to lock in the color. So our broccolini is ready, and we can set that aside and finish it when we're ready to plate up. Meanwhile, you can boil your potatoes like you know how. These are Yukon Golds that have been boiled till tender. Smash them up with a potato masher, and all I did is simple salt, garlic powder, and lots of French salted butter, again from Trader Joe's. You can add cream, but you do mashed potatoes like you know how, according to your taste. After 2.5 hours, we can unwrap the ribs, and they should be nice and soft at this point. Lift off the covering, and this is what it should look like. At this point, your short ribs are buttery soft, but what we want to do is we want to remove the meat and save the garlic, remove the aromatics, and we want to go ahead and strain all of the braising liquid, that's all the aromatics, beef stock, and the red wine together. Strain it really well, and you'll want to get rid of the excess fat. I do it by putting ice in a ladle, giving it a couple swirls, and what the fat does is solidify under the ladle, and I can scrape off the fat as well. This is an important step, as you don't want a greasy sauce. Once your excess grease is done, you can reduce your sauce by 50%, and you can saute up your broccolini with some garlic, chili flake, olive oil, and salt. Set that aside, and the sauce is reduced perfectly, so we can plate up. Let's plate up our Yukon Golds. Set one piece of short rib down. You can reserve some carrots from the mirepoix. They're flavorful. Add some broccolini and a couple of spoonfuls of your sauce. This is our final product. This is the Cabernet Braised short rib, mashed